A strange signal from the stars. Eli lived alone on a small space station, far from Earth. His station floated quietly near a dead planet, forgotten by most people in the galaxy. He had no family, no friends. Only the stars kept him company. Every day was the same. He woke up, checked the systems, and watched the space outside his window. He liked silence. Silence meant peace, but deep inside, he always felt like something was missing. Like he had once been part of something bigger, something he couldn't remember. One night, while Eli was checking the radio systems, a strange sound came through the old speaker. It wasn't a normal signal. It was broken, full of static, but he could hear a voice. "He who saved the stars. We remember you." Eli froze. The voice was not human. It was soft, musical, and filled with emotion. He turned up the volume. The message repeated again. "He who saved the stars. We remember you." His hands trembled. How could anyone know? Years ago, something had happened. Something Eli had buried deep in his mind. He thought no one knew. But now, someone from the stars was calling him. He looked at the signal source. It came from a galaxy far away. A galaxy humans didn't visit anymore. He stared at the screen, unsure what to do. And then, the station lights flickered. The power dipped for a second. All systems restarted. Eli stood up, confused. Suddenly, the floor began to shake. A loud hum echoed outside the station. He ran to the window. A massive ship appeared out of nowhere. Black, shining, and shaped like a crescent moon. It hovered silently near his station. Eli had never seen anything like it. Not in books, not in records, not in dreams. A bright light shot from the ship. It entered the room through the window. But the glass didn't break. Instead, the light floated in front of Eli, changing shape. Slowly, it turned into a glowing figure. It was a woman, tall with silver hair that moved like it was underwater. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were bright gold. She wore a long robe with stars stitched into it. She looked royal. "Eli," she said gently. He stepped back. Who are you?" She smiled. "You don't remember me, but I remember you." He stared at her, lost. "Years ago," she continued, "you saved me. You saved my people. I was just a child. You risked everything to help us escape. And then you disappeared." Images flashed in Eli's mind. Fire, ships falling from the sky, a small girl crying, his hands pulling her from the flames. "But that was a dream," Eli whispered. "No," the woman said. "It was real. And now, we need you again." Eli couldn't speak. His heart was racing. Was this real? Or was he losing his mind? "Who are you?" he asked again, his voice shaking. The woman stepped closer. "I am Princess Alara of the planet Virel. And you, Eli, are not just a man from Earth. You are something more, something forgotten." Eli's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Alara didn't answer. Instead, she raised her hand. A small device appeared, floating in the air. It glowed, then projected an image. In the image, Eli was standing in front of a crowd of aliens. They were cheering. Alara, younger and smaller, stood beside him, holding his hand. Behind them, a destroyed ship burned in the sky. "You were our hero," she said. "But after the battle, you vanished, and no one could find you. Until now." Eli touched his head. Pain shot through his skull. Memories tried to break through, but they were blurry, broken like pieces of a puzzle. Alara looked at him, serious now. "The galaxy is in danger again. Something worse is coming, and only you can stop it." "Me?" Eli laughed nervously. "I'm just a maintenance guy. I don't even remember saving anyone." "Your memory was locked," Alara said, "to protect you. But it's time to remember. Come with me. The truth is waiting." Eli looked at the stars outside. The quiet peace he loved was gone, replaced by mystery, by fear, and by a strange hope. "Why now?" he asked. "Why after all these years?" Alara took a deep breath. Her eyes sparkled. "Because the thing we feared most," she said, "has returned, and it is looking for you." Eli felt cold, like space itself had wrapped around him. Before he could speak, the hologram faded. The light vanished. The ship outside disappeared in a flash. But on his screen, one message remained, blinking softly. "Meet me at the edge of the dark sector, before it's too late." Eli stared at it. His quiet life was over, and the stars were calling him back. The Princess and the Secret War. Eli couldn't sleep. After the signal, after the ship, and after the strange woman who called herself Princess Alara disappeared, his world was no longer quiet. The stars outside looked the same, silent, distant, but Eli now felt like they were watching him. His screen still showed the last message. "Meet me at the edge of the dark sector." He tried to ignore it, told himself it was a glitch, maybe a dream. But deep down, something inside him had already changed. The next morning, Eli packed a small bag. Some food, water, a weapon he hadn't touched in years. He walked into his old ship, which hadn't flown in a long time. As the engine started, the systems buzzed alive. The voice of the ship's eye, rusty and soft, greeted him. "Welcome back, Eli, destination." He looked out the window, took a deep breath, and said, "Take me to the edge of the dark sector." The ship jumped into warp. The stars became streaks of light. The dark sector was a place most travelers avoided. It was full of black holes, broken moons, and strange energy fields. No signals ever got out. No maps were complete. Some called it the graveyard of galaxies. Eli's ship arrived at the border. The sky here looked different, darker, quieter, and heavy. He waited. For hours, nothing happened. But then, a bright white light appeared from the black. Slowly, a ship came out of it. Same as before. Crescent-shaped, silent. It didn't speak. It just opened its gate. Eli had no choice. He flew in. Inside the ship, everything was quiet. Smooth silver walls. No windows. Soft blue lights. As he walked through the halls, he felt like the ship was alive, like it was watching him. Finally, he reached a round room. In the center stood Princess Alara. She was not a hologram this time. She was real, taller than he remembered, glowing softly, like moonlight. But her eyes, they were full of sadness. "You came," she said. Eli nodded slowly. "You gave me no choice." A small smile touched her lips. "You've always been the same." He frowned. "We've met before, but I can't remember." She stepped closer. "Your memory was locked, not erased. To protect you, because the war wasn't over." "What war?" Eli asked. Alara sat down on a floating chair. "A secret war. One most of the galaxy doesn't know about. Not between armies, but between energy." "Energy?" Eli asked, confused. "Yes," she said. "Light and dark. Creation and destruction. Our ancestors built gates to connect galaxies. These gates used living energy. They gave us power, speed, and peace. But peace never lasts," Eli whispered. Alara nodded. "Someone wanted more. A being we only call the Void Maker. It feeds on destruction. It corrupts energy. And it found a way to control the gates." Eli listened, his heart racing. "When you saved me," Alara continued, "you stopped the Void Maker's first attack. You destroyed its weapon. But you were hurt. Badly. Your mind broke. Our healers saved your body. But to save your soul, we erased the pain." He sat down, silent. "So, I'm not just a man from Earth." Alara looked at him. "You were born on Earth, but part of you came from the gates. That's why you could survive the energy storm." That's why. You were chosen. Eli felt like his world was spinning. Chosen for what? To stop the Voidmaker again, she said, before it finds the core gate. What happens if it does? All galaxies will go dark, she said simply. Life, light, time, everything will end. Eli stood up. And you waited all these years to tell me this? No, she said. I searched, for years, across systems, across timelines. Many thought you were dead, but I believed. Eli looked at her. Why? Alara stepped closer. Because when I was a child, and the sky was falling, you came back for me. Everyone else ran. But you stayed. You held my hand and said, "Don't be afraid. I've got you." I never forgot. The room was silent. Then she added softly, "And because I loved you." Even then. Eli felt like he couldn't breathe. Before he could answer, the ship shook. Alarms started. A voice echoed through the walls. "Incoming ship, Hunter class." Alira's face turned pale. "They found us." "Who?" Eli asked. "The Voidmaker's hunter," she whispered. "He was once our protector. Now, he's their weapon. Can we run?" Eli asked. "No," she said, "but we can hide. Follow me." They ran through the ship, moving fast. Doors opened on their own. The lights changed from blue to red. As they reached a small room, Alira pressed a button. The wall opened, revealing 2 suits, one for her, one for Eli. "Put it on," she said. "We're going to jump." "Into space." "No," she said. "Into memory." "What?" Before he could say more, she grabbed his hand. "The only way to stop the void," she said, "is to remember who you were." And then the floor opened beneath them. They fell into darkness. They landed not in space, but in a strange world. Floating islands, glowing rivers, and stars moving across the sky. Eli stood, confused. "Where are we?" Alira looked around. "This is your mind, or what's left of it." In the distance, a door stood, cracked, glowing, waiting. "Behind that door," she said, "is the memory you locked away." Eli stepped forward. His heart beat faster. And from behind the door, a voice whispered, "Welcome back, Eli. The stars have been waiting." The memory lock. When Eli opened the door, light poured out like a river. Warm, soft light. Not blinding, but deep. It didn't hurt his eyes. It pulled at his heart, as if it knew him. Memories whispered through the air like voices calling from a forgotten dream. He stepped inside. The moment his foot touched the floor, the door vanished. He turned around, but there was nothing behind him, just floating stars and a sea of glowing fog. "Stay calm," said Alira gently. "Your memory will come in pieces. Some will hurt." Eli nodded. He already felt it, a heaviness in his chest. Fear, guilt, confusion. The feeling of knowing something terrible had happened, but not being able to name it. They walked forward. As they moved, the fog began to shape itself. It turned into images, moving, breathing, alive. Not just memories, but moments. A younger Eli stood in a metal hallway, dressed in black armor. His eyes were sharp. His face had a scar across the left cheek. He held a weapon. Beside him were others. Humans, aliens, machines. A team. "What is this?" Eli asked. "This was your unit," Alira said. "You were part of a mission called Project Lumen, a secret alliance between Earth and other star systems. You weren't a mechanic, Eli. You were a guardian." A figure appeared, tall, cloaked in shadows, with glowing red eyes. "You cannot hide him forever," the voice said. "The light belongs to me now." "Run," Alira said. "This part of your mind is collapsing. He's infecting it." Eli grabbed her hand. They ran through the falling stars, through broken memories, as the dark figure followed, twisting the space behind them. The more they ran, the more pieces of Eli's past returned. He remembered training on a moon station. He remembered laughing with his team. He remembered the night he volunteered for the mission no one else wanted. "You always carried the light," a voice from memory said, "because you weren't afraid of the dark." They reached a glowing door, round, silver, humming. Alira slammed her hand against it. "This is your core lock. Your final memory. Open it." "How?" Eli asked, panicked. "Say your truth," she shouted. "The thing you've been hiding even from yourself." The dark figure was almost on them now. Eli turned to the door, his heart pounding, his voice shaking. "I'm not afraid of the truth," he said. The door exploded in light. Suddenly, everything was quiet. They stood inside a white room. No stars, no sky, just silence. A single figure stood ahead. Eli walked forward. The figure turned. It was him, but older, wiser, with glowing eyes and a calm face. "I am the part of you that remembered," the figure said. "The part you had to bury to heal." "Why did I forget everything?" Eli asked. "Because heroes break too," the figure said. "And sometimes they need to forget to keep living." "But now?" Eli asked. The figure smiled. "Now it's time to become whole again." Light poured into Eli's chest. He felt everything return, not just pain, but power, purpose, memory, light. He was no longer just Eli the mechanic. He was Eli the guardian. He turned to Alira. She smiled through tears. "You're back," she whispered. But before they could speak, the dark returned. The figure of shadow rose again, stronger, louder, angrier. "You cannot win," it screamed. "You are just a man." Eli stepped forward, his voice calm. "No," he said, "I'm the one who stopped you once. And this time, I'm not alone." He reached out. Alira took his hand. Light burst from them both. The darkness screamed and vanished. They woke up in the ship, back in the real world. Eli opened his eyes. His hand still glowed. Alira looked at him. "The Voidmaker knows you're awake now. He will come." Eli nodded. "Then let's go meet him." She smiled. "We'll need help. Then we find the others," Eli said. "The ones who still believe." "And if they've forgotten?" she asked. "Then I'll remind them," Eli replied. Outside the ship, the stars were brighter than ever. But somewhere, in a corner of the galaxy, the void was already moving. The hunter from the dark sector. Deep in the dark sector, a ship moved without making a sound. It had no lights, no signal, no heat. Like a ghost drifting through space, this ship belonged to the hunter, silent, deadly, and feared in every corner of the galaxy. His name was Kale. No one knew where he came from. Some said he was part machine. Some believed he was born in a black hole. Others whispered he had once protected a royal family, and then turned on them. He had only one mission now: find Eli, and bring him to the Voidmaker, alive. Far from him, Eli sat in the quiet of Alira's ship. He had just unlocked his memories. He knew now who he was, and what he had once done. But with those memories came pain, regret, loss. "You okay?" Alira asked. Eli nodded slowly, just trying to hold it all together. "You will," she said gently. "You always do." They were traveling through an old star path, once used by the Alliance, now abandoned. The plan was to reach the moon base of Solari, a hidden rebel system. They needed allies, weapons, answers, but something felt off. Eli stood and walked to the command screen. "Someone's following us," he said. Alira blinked. "You're sure?" "Not on radar," Eli said, "but I can feel it." A chill ran through the ship. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered. A soft thump echoed in the hull. "Someone just boarded," Eli whispered. Before they could move, a voice came through the ship's speakers. Smooth, slow, sharp like a blade. "Hello, Eli. It's been a long time." Alira froze. Eli's face darkened. "Kale." They ran to the lower deck. When the doors opened, Kale was already standing there. Tall, dressed in dark armor with glowing red lines. His face was half covered by a metal mask, but his eyes were human. Cold, but still human. "You're real," Eli said. Kale nodded. "I'm always real when it matters." Alira stepped forward. "You were one of us. You swore to protect the gate of Varel." "I did," Kale said. "But I saw what the gates really are. What they hide." "You betrayed us," Alira whispered. "No," he said. "I woke up." Eli raised his hand, light glowing in his palm. "You're taking me to the Voidmaker?" he asked. Kale smiled beneath the mask. "You think you have a choice." Then he moved. Fast. In 1 second, he was in front of Eli. A blast of energy hit the wall as Eli barely blocked it. The ship shook. Alarms screamed. They fought. Light against shadow. Eli's powers were still unstable, like fire without control. Kale's strikes were sharp and practiced, every move planned. Alira tried to help, but Kale sent a wave of dark energy that threw her across the room. "You're weak," Kale growled at Eli. "You lost your edge." "Maybe," Eli said, panting. "But I still remember hope." He unleashed a blast of light. It hit Kale in the chest, burning through the armor. Kale fell back, stunned. For a moment, his mask flickered. Underneath it, just a flash, a face, human, tired, wounded. Eli paused. "What happened to you?" he asked. Kale stood slowly, his voice softer now. "You think I wanted this," he said. "We were heroes, Eli. Then the void came. And it showed me. The light was a lie." Alira pulled herself up. "You don't have to serve it." Kale looked at her. "Don't you understand?" he said. "The void doesn't want to destroy everything. It wants to reset it, to start over. Clean, quiet, perfect." Eli stepped closer. "And you believe that?" "I believe peace is better than chaos," Kale said. "Then why are you still full of hate?" Eli asked. Kale didn't answer. Instead, he pressed something on his arm. A teleport beacon. A portal began to form behind him. "You can't run forever," he told Eli. "The void is coming. And next time, it won't need me." Then he vanished. The ship was damaged. Eli and Alira sat in silence as repair drones worked. "He's not completely gone," Eli said. "I saw it, the part of him that remembers who we were." "Maybe," Alira said, "but the void twists people. It feeds on pain. It turns heroes into hunters." Eli leaned back. "If it did that to Kale, what will it do to me?" She looked at him. "Only if you let it." He nodded, but inside, doubt grew. Later that night, Eli walked alone to the storage deck. He opened a small case. Inside were files, old ones, from the Project Lumen archives. He looked through them until he found a photo. His team, standing side by side, smiling. And there, beside him, Kale, without a mask. Young, proud. Eli stared at it. "What happened to us?" he whispered. Then he noticed something strange. In the corner of the file, the hidden code. The location. Not Rebel Base Solari, but something else. A signal. From a place called Veritus. He ran back to the command room. "We've been going the wrong way," he told Alira. She frowned. "What do you mean?" "Kale knew where we were," Eli said. "But he didn't kill us. He wanted me to find this." He showed her the code. She scanned it. "Veritus," she said softly. "It's an ancient library planet, long thought dead." "Maybe it has answers," Eli said. "Truths the void try to hide." Alira looked at him. "It's risky." "So was coming back to life," Eli said with a half smile. She nodded. Then let's go. They changed course. The stars shifted, and far away, in a place full of ruins and silence, something began to wake. A light flickered on. A voice whispered through the dust. Accessing Project Lumen archives. The truth about the galaxy. The planet Veritus was a dead world. No light, no life, no sound. It floated at the edge of a forgotten star system, wrapped in thick space dust and static fields that blocked all signals. No ships came here. No maps showed it. Even time seemed slower near its orbit. But Ely and Alira were not looking for safety. They were searching for truth. As their ship approached the planet's surface, a strange energy pulsed through the hull. We're being scanned, Alira said, but not by a weapon. It feels ancient. Eli stared at the surface. There were no cities, no buildings, only a massive stone structure carved into the ground like a spiral, stretching for miles. The shape looked familiar. That's a memory key symbol, he whispered. I saw it in the old Project Lumen logs. You think this is where it all started? Alira asked. Maybe, Eli said, or maybe this is where it ends. They landed near the center of the spiral. The air outside was cold and dry, like breathing dust and silence. They wore thin energy suits to protect themselves. Their boots crunched on the gravel as they walked toward the entrance. The gate was huge, black stone. No doors, no buttons. But as Eli raised his hand, the stone lit up with golden lines. It recognized him. The gate opened. Inside, it was dark. No lights, no sound, just a long tunnel leading down. Far below, after what felt like hours of walking, they reached a wide chamber. In the center was a glowing pillar made of crystal. Symbols floated around it, languages from 1,000 worlds. Around the room, machines from ancient times still hummed faintly. Alira stepped forward. This place is a memory core. Eli nodded. It holds the past, all of it. He touched the crystal, and suddenly, the galaxy opened up. Images flooded the air. Not just memories, truths. Stars being born, planets rising and falling, gates built by an ancient race, long gone. The keepers of light, who once united the galaxies using pure energy, pulled from the heart of stars. But then came the void. A shadow, a corruption. Not a creature, but a sickness in the energy. It infected systems, broke harmony, turned light into hunger, peace into war. The keepers tried to stop it. They created guardians, humans, aliens, even machines, with a connection to the gates. One of those guardians was Eli. He saw himself, chosen by the gate, a child with unusual energy patterns, trained from a young age. Faster, stronger, able to connect with gate networks through thought alone. He was not a normal human. He was hybrid-born, designed with fragments of gate core energy, the last spark of the Keeper's legacy. Project Lumen wasn't just a military mission. It was a last attempt to fight the void. And Eli was its key. You were made for this, Alira said softly. She was watching the images too. I didn't ask for it, Eli said, his voice shaking. No one does, she replied. But still, you came back. More visions played. Eli's team, their first missions, early victories. Then, the turning point. A secret mission to a planet called Vorthen. They were told to destroy a weapon. But it wasn't a weapon. It was a gate fragment, alive, ancient, holding memories of the Keepers. Eli had felt its energy. It tried to show him a path. But then, the void attacked. His team was lost. And Eli, he barely escaped, his mind broken. The memory locked by gate technology. Now he remembered it all. And something else. A backup gate. Hidden. Never activated. Its location. Buried in the last archive node. He touched the crystal again. A final message played. A woman's voice. Not Elira's. Not human. If this message is found, then hope still lives. The core gate can be awakened, but it needs both light and shadow to unlock it. The balance must be restored, or the galaxy will collapse into silence. Eli looked at Elira. Light and shadow. What does that mean? Before she could answer, the room began to shake. A red light flashed across the walls. No, Elira said. Not now. The crystal turned black. A voice echoed through the chamber. You found the truth, but truth comes with a cost. Eli knew the voice. Kale. They ran up the tunnel. Outside, the sky had changed. Black clouds swirled above them. Not weather, energy. Void energy. And Kale stood there, waiting. He no longer wore armor. Instead, his body was half covered in gate markings, glowing with dark light, like the void had fused with him. You've seen it, haven't you? He said. Eli didn't answer. Kale stepped forward. The galaxy isn't dying because of me. It's dying because of the gate builders. They forced harmony. They controlled chaos. The void is not evil. It's balance. Balance doesn't destroy, Eli replied. Neither does truth, Kale said. Yet you've been hiding from it. They circled each other like wolves. Elira raised her hand, ready to strike. Kale looked at her. You still don't see it, do you? He can't stop the void alone. And you can, she snapped. No, Kale said. Then he looked at Eli. But we can. Together. Silence fell. Eli's heart thumped. What are you saying? The final gate needs both of us, Kale said. Light and shadow. The builders created you, and they created me. Not to fight each other, but to unlock the end. And the void? Eli asked. Kale's voice dropped. If we don't stop it, there will be no galaxies left to save. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Eli reached into his pocket, pulled out the memory crystal from the archive, held it toward Kale. Then we go together, Eli said. Elira stepped back, surprised, but said nothing. Kale took the crystal. His eyes glowed, and for the first time since they met, he smiled. You've finally remembered, he said. Above them, the sky opened. A gate shimmered into view, not like any other. A core gate, the final one, waiting to be awakened. The last stand at Virel. The skies over Virel had not been blue for many years. Once a planet full of light, knowledge, and peace, it was now covered in ash and red clouds. Towers once golden now stood broken. Green fields were turned to dust. The great gate in the capital city, luminaries, flickered like a dying star. And yet, this broken place still breathed. It was the last stronghold of the free systems. And Eli had returned. He stood on the edge of the cliff, overlooking the burned city. Behind him, Elira stood silently, her cloak blowing in the wind. She hadn't been back here since the war began. This was the planet where she was born, and the place where her people were nearly wiped out. You okay? Eli asked. No, she said, but I'm ready. Beside them, Kale adjusted his dark armor. Though no longer their enemy, he still carried the look of one. The mark of the void ran along his skin like a crack through glass, but his eyes had changed. We don't have much time, he said. The core gate is waking up. The void can feel it. Eli nodded. Then we give it a reason to be afraid. They walked through the ruined city. Aliens from different species peeked out from broken buildings, old rebels, lost soldiers, civilians too scared to flee. Whispers filled the air. Is that him? The one who disappeared. The princess is back. Is it true? Is he really alive? Eli kept walking. He didn't feel like a hero. Not yet. In the old palace ruins, they reached the command chamber. The council had reformed. Old warriors, scientists, even a few former enemies. They all stood when Alira entered. "Princess," said an elder, bowing. "You've come home. Not to rule," she said, "but to finish what we started." They turned to Eli. "This is the one?" someone asked. "The last guardian." Eli stepped forward. "I'm not the same as before, but I remember now, and I won't run again." Kale dropped a metal device on the table. A glowing orb hovered above it, showing a dark map of the galaxy. A pulse moved through it, slow, steady, growing. "This is the void signal," he said. "It's building. Soon, it will reach the core gate. And then, everything ends," Alira finished. "Unless we open the gate first," Eli said. "But we can't do it alone." The room was silent. Then one by one, heads nodded. The last army of Varel would rise. They moved quickly. Ships repaired, weapons charged, old defenses reactivated, messages sent to every free world. "This is not just Varel's last stand," Alira said in her broadcast. "It is the galaxies." Across the stars, allies began to respond. Old captains, outlaw fighters, scientists from hidden labs, even a few species once thought extinct. Hope had returned, and so had the light. The battle began 3 days later. The void ships arrived first, black as night, shaped like thorns, pulsing with shadow energy, thousands of them. They covered the sky like a second atmosphere. Virel's defenses lit up. Beams of light sliced through the air. Explosions shook the ground. Rebel ships flew in formation, trying to hold the front lines. On the ground, chaos broke loose. Shadow creatures landed, half machine, half nightmare. Their eyes glowed red. They swarmed the city, pulling energy from the soil. Eli stood at the gate tower, the core crystal in his hands. "We have to open it now," he shouted. "We need both keys," Alira reminded him. Kale stepped forward. Together, he and Eli placed their hands on the gate, light and dark, 2 parts of the same whole. The gate responded. It rose from the ground, piece by piece, like a puzzle rebuilding itself. Lines of golden and black energy wrapped around it. The sky opened above them, showing stars that had not been seen in centuries. Then, the gate activated. A massive shockwave spread across the battlefield. The void ships paused, and from the gate, a beam of energy shot into the sky. But it wasn't over. Not yet, because he had arrived. The true voice behind the void. The one who had whispered to Kale, who had corrupted the energy, who had waited for Eli to wake. They called him Nexer, a being of pure shadow, born from the broken heart of a gate system long forgotten. He didn't have a body, just a shape, massive and shifting, like a storm made of screams. He floated above the gate, laughing. "You think you've won," he said, voice shaking the world. "You've only lit the path to your own end." Eli stepped forward. His body now glowed brighter than ever. His voice calm. "We're not afraid of you anymore." Nexer reached down, a black tendril striking the ground. But Eli blocked it with a wave of light. "You can't stop him alone," Alira shouted. "I'm not alone," Eli said. Kale stood beside him, Alira behind them. And from the skies, ships arrived, every ally they had called. They came, not for war, but for hope. The final battle began. Above, ships clashed in blinding dogfights, light and shadow dancing across the stars. On the ground, forces pushed forward, inch by inch, through rubble and flame. At the gate, Eli and Kale fought side by side, using both light and dark energy to keep Nexer from closing the gate. Alira ran the command lines, directing soldiers, protecting the wounded, rallying the broken. Then, Nexer struck directly. A blast of void hit the gate. It cracked. The core crystal shattered. Eli was thrown back. Silence. For a moment, it felt like the void had won. But then, Alara stepped forward. She picked up the broken pieces of the crystal, and she began to sing, a soft melody, an old song of her people. It wasn't a weapon. It was a memory, of light, of home, of the stars before the war. And something began to happen. The gate glowed again, not from technology, but from belief, from unity. The pieces floated, and Eli stood up. His hand reached out. The crystal reformed, and with Kale's help, he placed it into the gate one last time. The core gate opened, but instead of a weapon, it released light, pure energy. It spread through the battlefield, healing, clearing, cleansing. Nexer screamed, his form cracking. "This is not possible," he cried. "This is balance," Eli said. With one final push, he and Kale sent a combined blast through the sky. Nexer shattered into 1,000 lights, vanishing like a bad dream. Silence fell over Virel. The void was gone. The sky was clear. For the first time in decades, the stars looked peaceful. Eli sat alone hours later, watching the sunrise. Alara joined him. "You did it," she said. "No," he replied. "We did." Behind them, Kale walked alone toward the mountains. "Will he be okay?" she asked. "I think he needs time," Eli said. They looked up. The gate now stood like a monument. Silent, powerful, waiting. "What now?" she asked. Eli smiled. "Now, we build something worth protecting." What she said left the galaxy speechless. The war was over. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy was quiet. The void was gone. The sky above Virel was no longer burning red, but calm and silver. Stars blinked in the distance like they were watching, resting. Ships hovered peacefully in the atmosphere. Wounded soldiers rested in the city ruins. Builders began clearing debris, planting seeds. Messages of peace buzzed through systems that once feared total destruction. But even in peace, silence can carry weight. And this time, it carried a name. Eli. No one had seen him since the gate closed. In the final moment, when Nexer was destroyed, the gate had pulled in all remaining energy, light and dark. Eli had been at its center. When it closed, only light remained. But he did not return. Some said he had vanished into the energy stream, become part of the gate itself. Others believed he was simply gone. Only one person truly knew what that moment meant, and she was ready to speak. The Great Hall of Luminaries had been rebuilt for this day, not with gold or crystal, but with stone and living plants. People from across the galaxy gathered. Elders, pilots, children, even former enemies. No one had told them what the princess would say, only that she had called them. Alara walked slowly into the hall. She wore a simple robe, no crown, no armor. Her eyes were tired, but steady. In her hand, she held a small device, a memory crystal. She stepped onto the center platform. No guards, no music, just truth. She looked at them. Then she began. "You all came here today for many reasons," she said. "Some of you came to honor victory. Others came because you lost someone. Many of you came with questions." She paused, her voice calm. "But I called you here to speak a name." Silence. "Eli." She turned on the crystal. A projection appeared. Just one image. Eli standing under the stars, looking up, smiling slightly. Not as a warrior, not as a leader, just him. Some of you know him as the Guardian, the Gatewalker, the hero who helped destroy the void. She looked around. But I knew him long before that, before the war, before the weapons, when I was a child, afraid and alone, and my world was burning. He was the one who came back for me. Her voice cracked, just a little. He didn't come because it was his job, or because someone ordered him. He came because he believed no one should be left behind. People in the crowd lowered their heads. Eli didn't think he was special. He thought he was broken. lost, too late to matter. And yet, every time we were close to giving up, he reminded us what we were fighting for. She stepped down from the platform and walked through the crowd as she spoke. He reminded us that light isn't perfect. It flickers. It gets tired. Sometimes it disappears. But that doesn't mean it's gone forever. It just means someone needs to carry it. She stopped at the center of the hall again, looked up at the sky window, where the stars glowed gently. Eli was not born royal. He didn't wear medals. He didn't ask to be followed. But he was more than a soldier, more than a hero. She looked directly at them. He was hope. Silence followed. Deep. Still. Emotional. Then someone in the back stood and raised a fist. Then another. Then the hall filled with the sound of people placing their hands over their hearts, a gesture used in the old alliance. A silent thank you. A tear slipped from Elira's eye, but she smiled. Later that night, she sat alone at the gate platform. The wind blew softly. The core gate stood quiet, no longer glowing, just watching. She pulled something from her pocket. Eli's pendant. Simple. Metal. She closed her hand around it and whispered, "You're still out there. I know it." And then she heard a sound. Barely a sound, more like a shift in the air. Behind her, the stars flickered just once. A soft breeze moved through her hair. And a voice, quiet, warm, familiar. "Told you I'd never leave anyone behind." She turned. No one was there. Just stars. But the gate hummed faintly, like it had remembered something. Or someone. 1 week later, a child on a small farm world picked up a signal from their old radio. "Dad, come quick. Someone's talking." The voice was broken, full of static, but a few words came through. "This is Eli. Still with you." The father blinked. "Who's Eli?" The child didn't answer. They just smiled. 5 months later, a group of engineers on a moon base discovered a strange energy pattern near a dormant gate. Not harmful, just glowing. Inside the data log, a pulse, repeating every hour. And a message. Keep building. They're worth it. 1 year later, the galaxy had changed. Old borders faded. New systems joined together, not under one flag, but under a single promise. Never again. They called it the Gate Pact. They're simple. A circle of stars. And in the center, the mark of the last guardian. Not as a weapon, but as a light. And somewhere, far beyond the last charted system, a figure walked alone through a world of pure light. He looked older now, quieter, but not alone. Voices of the gate whispered to him. Memories, fragments, future paths. He placed his hand on a stone pillar, closed his eyes, and smiled. Not done yet. The galaxy was no longer silent. It remembered. Not because of power, not because of fear, but because of what she said, and what he believed. The end.